Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jay Speak Now podcast. I'm your host Jaden, and today we're going to be talking about the top five NFL rosters going into the 2024 season. It's a list I've just composed of that I want to go through a couple of these teams, just who I think has the best overall offensive and defensive units on on paper and so far from what we've seen from these teams going into this upcoming season. But before we do that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button on YouTube in the right corner of your screen. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, turn on those post notifications and follow us so you know when we post. And follow us on the socials on TikTok, Twitter, or X. I still keep calling it Twitter. It's X now, but it, it will always be Twitter to me, even though they changed it to X. Elon Musk, right? Anyway, um, yeah, follow us on Twitter. I mean X and IG, TikTok. All right. So yeah, top five rosters going to the 2024 season. Of course, now you could this list could be interchangeable. You could swap a lot of teams in and out just depending on opinions and preference. But I'm going just off of sheer talent and from what I've seen from these teams over the last couple years, and even well, really this past season most notably. So at number one, of course, uh, I have the San Francisco 49ers at one. Now a lot of people think, oh, well, why don't you have the Chiefs at one? Well, because the Chiefs, while they are extremely talented and have won two Super Bowls in a row, they don't have their roster isn't complete on both sides of the football. They don't have, but it doesn't matter because they've been winning. They've won a Super Bowl the last 2 years and three times out of the last 5 years, so it doesn't matter. But still, just on speaking on sheer just roster wise, I can't put them above the 49ers because the 49ers have talent all across the board. Defensive line, other than like one person, they have more than one talented player on the defensive line. Like with the Chiefs, it's really Chris Jones, and I mean, occasionally now I won't discredit George Karlaftis because he had a big role this past season. He's a very talented player, um, but I still like the San Francisco 49ers roster just better overall. Offensively, they've got, I mean, multiple players who can produce, as we know, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, who is seeking a contract extension. He's seeking $30 million per year. I don't think he's going to get it. So if he's traded before the season starts, don't be surprised, because I don't think the 49ers are going to pay him what he wants. But yeah, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, of course, and Debo Samuel. How could I forget? And Christian McCaffrey. So you have all those guys who can all average 1,000 yards or more every season, especially with the way Kyle Shanahan runs his offense. So now that's just looking at top from the bottom. And Brock Purdy, of course, at quarterback, he's continuing to improve. And he just finished his second year starting in the league. So he's give him some more time, and he's definitely going to be a top. I say he'll be a top 10 quarterback for sure. Um, Within the next couple of years. I definitely believe it. He'll be up there with CJ and yeah, definitely CJ Stroud and Joe Burrow and those guys like Lamar. It's crazy, but that's what I think. I think Brock is headed on that trajectory. As long as he continues to stay healthy and produce within the Kyle Shanahan offense, improve the things he needs to improve on, he'll definitely be a top 10 QB in this league. So the 49ers have all of that. Of course, now he's not better than Patrick Mahomes. We all know that, but they're still very good, and they just re-signed Juwan Jennings to today, like a 2 year, $15 million deal. So that's like your backup receiver that can come in and he can block, he can catch some good passes, play a little tight end too if you need him to, whatever. Like just he Juwan Jennings is one of those glue guys, so he's very good at what he does. Defensively, like I said, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, unfortunately, who's injured for a year after sustaining that injury in the Super Bowl. So prayers up to him that he gets his rest. But yeah, and then of course, Talanoa Hufanga, safety. I hope I didn't say his name wrong. Talanoa Hufanga. He very talented player back there. They just need another safety as well. Like the 49ers secondary is only the only spot I would consider it a little weak. It's something that I think they need to address. Of course, Charvarius Ward, very solid corner, back there for the 49ers, but they need a solid starter back there, opposite Ward. So, but overall, yeah, I still have them as my best roster in the league because they're just that good from top to bottom. Like they could consistently generate pressure on the defensive line. Consistently, just like I mean, they're one of the better pressure teams in the league. Um, so down at number two, my number two best roster in the league, of course, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Jarvis Kelsey, blah blah blah. Taylor Swift, if you want to include her too. I'm kidding. Bad joke, I know. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco though, a guy that hasn't gotten much recognition. He should. He's very good. He's a very good running back, very physical, but at the same time, he's got good speed. Isaiah Pacheco was a steal when the Chiefs picked him up in the draft. I'm surprised he did go that low. Uh, but they swooped up and got him, and he's been phenomenal for them, especially in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. He had a lot of big runs, so I look to see him, really grow and continue to be that lead back for this team in the future. Seems like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I forget he's on the team. Like, I don't know what his role is per se. I just I'm wondering why he is still on the roster. So Chiefs fans, if you come in the comments, if you're in there, just if you could explain why he's probably still there, because I'm just curious to know, because he hasn't really got much playing time over the past couple years. So I'm just wondering why he's still on the team. But anyway, so but yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, defensively Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, uh, Nick Bolton, that linebacker. I mean Mike Dana, in. I mean you got a lot of talented players on the Chiefs. Uh, Joshua Williams at corner. He's very very good young corner. We know what Trent McDuffie can do as well. He made some big plays in the Super Bowl too, so he's shown up for them. So yeah, I mean the Chiefs, yeah, I would have them as my second best roster going to the 2024 season. Now they did lose some players as well. Offensively, they lost Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the Bills, so he goes to the rival Buffalo Bills. Even though he had his issues, his drops, but he was very reliable receiver for them at times. And the Chiefs also they lost a couple other players. I believe Willie Gay is no longer on the team either. So, but hey, as long as number 15's back there, they always have a chance, right? So, uh, third best roster now in the league. I'm going to give this spot to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles right now, especially with the moves they made in the draft to get Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo, right? Yeah, Toledo. And Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. So they're made a concerted effort to improve the secondary, which was a problem for them last year. They were one of the worst passing defenses in the league, uh, and it hurt them towards the end of last season, as they kind of sputtered. Offensively, they were sputtering as well. Jalen Hurts wasn't playing like his usual self, so they kind of retooled the offense. They, as far as offensive staff wise, bringing in Kellen Moore to be the offensive coordinator. Brian Johnson no longer calling plays. That'll be Kellen Moore, the former offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. So now he'll be the offensive coordinator in Philly, and now you got Vic Fangio calling the plays on defense. So it's going to look a little bit different, and I'm interested to see uh, how he fits how he fits those players according to his scheme, Vic Fangio, defensively. Now the only thing with the Eagles is that you know you need your defensive tackles that you've drafted in the past 2 years to step up, especially with Fletcher Cox no longer there. And I'm talking to Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, who they picked out of Georgia the past couple years. And they haven't done much. Um, so I'm looking for them to produce more. I'm looking for them to make more of an impact because Fletcher Cox again is retired. So you need somebody to generate that interior pressure because that's how the Eagles have been so successful on defense. They create pressure interior wise, and then their edge guys don't have to do much because now more of the blocking attention is going towards their interior defensive linemen, so that gives one-on-one opportunities with their edge players. Hassan Reddick, for example, no longer on the team, but I use him as an example. Josh Sweat, other guys that they brought in, Brandon Graham. So, you know, so now you're gonna have to generate that pressure on the interior because if not, then it's their pass rushing scheme is not going to be as successful and efficient as it's been in the past. So, because they live in the middle, when they clog up those running lanes, and then they generate when you try to throw the football, they're able to get those one-on-one opportunities on the edge, on the outside. So that's why they've been one of the leading teams in sacks over the past couple years, or one of the better teams in sacking the quarterback, I should say. Uh, so I mean, like I said, defensively, that's the one thing I'd be concerned about. Linebacker, I think they're good at with Nakobe Dean. He's really solid there, so I think they should be good. And they also drafted Nolan Smith as well out of Georgia. Man, Philadelphia loves their Georgia players. Anyway, so yeah, so that's just something to think about. But now, cornerback, like I said, James Bradbury more likely than not is going to be traded or released before the season starts. From what I'm hearing, he hasn't, of course, performed to the epitome of what he's expected to. He had that good season. The Super Bowl season was a good one. Last year he just wasn't there, and so now it's like, hey, we will start this rookie over you if you don't up your game. So NFL, you're always on a short leash. I think people don't understand with the NFL, like you are always on a short leash. You can be replaced within an instant. You can be cut within an instant. So it's like your 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 margin for error is very slim in the NFL. So anyway, my fourth team, I will have to give that spot to. Uh, hmm. Well, hmm. see this. See this one here is a little interesting because I'd say the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, you know what? I'll just go with the Baltimore Ravens. I'll go with the Baltimore Ravens here. They've got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry coming over from Tennessee. I mean, that rushing attack is going to be lethal. I mean, now Tom Munkin can run whatever he want because defense is going to have to key in on Henry and Jackson now, so they can run triple option or quarterback option or whatever they want to run. And it's already hard enough to stop as it is. I mean, now you add with the quarterback who can run, the running back who can run, and now that opens up the play action as well. So they're going to need their receivers to step up. Zay Flowers had a great year. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I think Rashad Bateman is going to step it up as well. I'm excited to see what he can do. And they're going to get Mark Andrews back from injury. So excited to see those guys and Keaton Mitchell as well. He's more likely than not going to be in that running back two role for the team. So I expect to see him at the receiver a lot, maybe at slot. Good, at the running back position. Funny enough, I played with Keaton in high school. Um, he went to the same high school as me, and I knew I knew that he was going to be an NFL star like immediately because like his speed is just lethal. Like he's very fast. That dude is extremely fast. I've seen him in person. He's extremely fast. His dad played in the league also, but so for the Ravens. So just really cool. Just cool story. But moving on. Um, uh, so my like I said, defensively they lost some pieces though. More Patrick Queen to the Steelers. Lost your defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. He became the head coach of the Seahawks. So Geno Stone left as well. So they've lost some defensive pieces, but I still like what they're bringing back. I mean, again, Justin and Ndamukong. I probably said his name wrong. Justin Ndamukong, an interior, Odafe Owe as well. Um, you know, they still got Roquan Smith in the middle back there. So yeah, Marlon Humphrey. Kyle Hamilton Kyle Hamilton is going to be one of the best safeties in the NFL, um, very soon. Like I'm telling you, he's very talented. Like he is a player that I really think you guys should keep an eye on over the next couple years, especially if the Ravens do make it all the way to a Super Bowl or back to the AFC Championship game again. He's usually he's going to be a big part of that. So, and then my fifth and final roster spot here going to the league, or the best, my fifth best roster going to the 2024 season is the Detroit Lions. This, of course, they went to the NFC Championship game last year. Jared Goff threw for 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. He had a great season for him. And he got paid handsomely for it. Big contract extension, 4 years, $212 million. And they re-signed Amon-Ra St. Brown to a deal. They re-signed Penei Sewell. So obviously the idea was that we want to get our key offensive players locked up for the foreseeable future so we can maximize this championship window because it is there. I never thought I'd be saying this, but yeah, the championship window for the Detroit Lions is there. So now they got to maximize it. Um, they got to maximize it, So, and I really love what they're bringing back offensively. Jahmyr Gibbs had a great rookie season. Jameson Williams will be back and healthy. Added to that receiving core with Amon Ra and um, Amon Ra and Khalif Raymond and those guys. So, and of course Brock Wright, the young tight end. So, I'm excited to see what the Lions can continue to do. Defensively, the secondary was something that they needed to address. They traded for Carlton Davis from the Buccaneers, drafted Terrion Arnold from Alabama. So again, a concerted effort, kind of like the Eagles. We want to address our secondary because that was our biggest weakness. So that's what they do. And you know, defensive line wise, I like what they've done there. Aiden Hutchinson is a beast. Can use a little bit more production on the other edge outside, but other than that, I mean Jack Campbell from Iowa, great pickup in the draft last year. He had a good rookie season. So Brad Holmes is doing a great job building up this team. Dan Campbell coaching has done a phenomenal job. Now they just have to continue to put it together and go back and make the winning plays that they need to make to go further and make a Super Bowl. So those are my five best rosters going into the 2024 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Leave me your thoughts. Like I said, hit that subscribe button in the right corner of your screen on YouTube, or if you're listening to us audio, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Um, Jay's Fit Down. Make sure you turn on post notifications so you'll know when we post our episodes. And yeah, we're going to try to keep getting more episodes out to you guys. So just stay on the lookout for that. More interviews coming, things like that. So, yeah, stay on the lookout for it. And we will see you next time on Jay's Fit Down.